In this video, I'm going to show you how to reprogram your Hunter controller. Now, regardless of if you have an X2, a Pro C, or any of the other types of Hunter controllers, they all look very similar and they work exactly the same way. We're going to zoom in on this guy. First thing we're going to do is make sure that the controller has power. You'll know it has power because the clock will show a number. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that our time and date is set correctly. So we're going to move our clock from the run position to date/time. The screen is going to first show the year. So the year right now is showing 2020. We're going to set it to the correct year. Currently it is 2022. So I'm going to hit the plus button twice. 1, 2. We're now at the correct year. I'm now going to hit the right button, which is now going to take us to our month and our day. Today is June, so I'm going to go to the number 6, which represents June. I'm going to hit the right button, which is going to take us to our day. Today is the 12th. I'm going to hit my plus button until it says the number 12. And what you'll notice on the screen, as well as it giving you the date, it also gives you the day. So underneath here, it says SU, which stands for Sunday. I'm going to hit the right button one more time, and now it's going to take us to our time. The first thing that's flashing is the AM, PM, or 24. Right now, it is PM, so I'm going to hit the plus button to take us to the PM. If I'd like to use 24 hour, if I hit the plus button, it's now taking us to military time. I'm going to hit the minus, which is going to take me back to PM. I'm going to hit the right button, and now I'm going to set my time. The time right now is 4:31. So I go to 4 hours, hit the right button. Now it's going to flash on 39. I hit minus until I get to the right minute. Right now it's 31. Hit the right one more time, and it takes us back to our year. So now we are done with setting the time and date. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to move to our run time. So you're going to go 2 clicks to the right. 1, 2, where it says run time, and it says A. This controller gives you 3 programs. Program A, if I hit the PRG button, program B, hit it again, program C, hit it one more time, and it goes back to A. In this example, we're going to set up 2 programs. We're going to set up program A, which is going to be our sprinkler heads, and program B, which is going to be our drip. Now, if you've never seen the system run and you don't know how many zones you have, what you should do next is pull down the plastic slide underneath your controller, which will expose all of the wires. Now, I know this looks very daunting, but I'm going to explain it very, very fast. So you have your common, which is the C. The common usually is white. The common goes to every single valve. You then have these numbers, 1 through 4 for this controller. You may have more. It could go up to 23 if it's a Pro C. In this example, it's just a 4-station controller. So we have zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, and zone 4, and the rest of them are blank. We do have some more colored wires back here, but these are actually extra wires, so we don't need to worry about them. We only need to worry about the zones 1 through 4, which all have wires connected to them. So the company that I work for, we always use blue as the drip, which is the flower beds. Now you've got to ask your question, do you actually have drip in your flower beds? Sometimes we install systems where it will just be grass and then the flower bed hasn't been installed yet. They may have had grass put all the way up to the house. We always install a drip zone so that if the customer wants drip later on, we can easily install it because it's already there. So for this example, we have 3 sprinkler head zones, which is the red, the orange, and the yellow, and 1 drip zone. So for program A, we're going to have minutes on zone 1, minutes on 2, minutes on 3, and nothing on 4. Now for our installs, we use MP rotators, and a recommended runtime for MP rotators are going to be 20 minutes. Now keep in mind, during hotter months, so when it's over 85 degrees Fahrenheit, you're probably going to want to extend those run times. But for a general setup, we're just going to do 20 minutes. So we're on run times, we're on A1, which is zone 1. We're going to hit the plus button until we get to 20 minutes. which is the recommended amount. And I'm holding it down, and as soon as we get to 20, I let go, and then I'm going to hit the right button to take me to zone 2. Hit the plus button again, and go all the way to 20 minutes. And one more time, zone 3, 20 minutes. Now I'm only setting up program A for now. So for now, I'm going to leave no minutes on zone 4, 0. If I hit the right button one more time, it then tells me the total runtime of this program. Program A has got 3 zones, 1, 2, and 3, 20 minutes each, equaling 1 hour. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go 1 click to the left. I'm going to go to my start time. So I'm going to go up 1. You can see we're on program A1 and it says off. Now this is one thing that I see a lot. A lot of people have hiccups on this, or I get phone calls and people say, hey, I think I've got a leak or I've got a problem with my system. You only need 1 start time per program. So if you want this system to come on before sunrise, it's running for an hour, I would recommend you have this start at 6 o'clock in the morning. So A1, I put to 6 o'clock. That way it will be done by 7 o'clock in the morning. Now this is a complete cycle. So at 6 o'clock in the morning, zone 1 will come on for 20 minutes. And then as soon as it is finished, zone 2 will then come on, and then zone 3. This controller gives you the option of 2, 3, 4 start times, and each start time is a complete cycle of the whole system. So if you have a start time of 6 a.m. and then on 2 you then have another start time of 6 a.m. and 3 you have another start time of 6 a.m., then the system is going to run 3 complete cycles. Each start time is a full cycle of the program. So if you'd like to have a second start time, some people do. They'll have a start time in the morning of 6 a.m. then they might have a start time in the evening of, say, 8 p.m. or something like that. That way it has 2 run times on that day. But I would recommend just having the 1 start time of whatever it is in the morning, making sure it finishes by 7 o'clock. That way it's done by sunrise. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn this start time to off just by taking it to midnight. You can see it just went off. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our watering day. So I'm going to go through 2 clicks to the right. The raindrop indicates that it's going to water on that day. So it will initially start off with every single day with a raindrop. What we're going to do is we're going to figure out what watering days we have. So your number of your house will tell you. So let's say your house is the number 1. That means that you're an odd number. If your house is the number 2, that means you're an even number. Whatever the last digit of your house. So let's say your house is 8301. That means that you're an odd number. If your house is 92, then you're an even number. Monday is a business day, so you can't water on Monday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit minus, which gets rid of Monday. This house is an odd number, so our watering days are going to be Wednesday. So I go to Wednesday and I hit the plus button. You can see it goes straight to Thursday. Hit minus on Thursday, plus again on Friday, minus on Thursday, and now we have our watering day set: Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Now you might not want to water 3 days a week. Water is very expensive. So let's say you just wanted to water 2 days. Just go back to Friday, hit minus, and now it's gone. I'm going to water 3 days though. Here is another thing that stumbles people up. This screen has no numbers on it. If you keep hitting the right button, you'll see a number appears. You are now on intervals. The number represents it is going to water on that number or that interval. So if you got it set on number 1, it will water every day. If you change this number by hitting the plus button, if I change it to 5, it will now water every 5th day. And what you'll find is you'll come back to the controller tomorrow and you'll go to this page and it won't say 50, it will say 55, and then the following day 54, 53. As soon as it gets to 0, it will water on that day. Now, what's quite cool with this is you can set an interval of, say, 5, and then you can also go to a day. Let's say you're going to mow the yard on Wednesdays. You could hit minus on Wednesday. It will now water every 5th day, but will not water on Wednesday. You've turned that one off, which is pretty cool. But most people don't like intervals, so if you're on this screen and you don't want to use it, you just want your set days, keep hitting the right button. until the numbers disappear, and now you're back to set days. Very simple. We now have program A set up, 20 minutes on zones 1 through 3, coming on at 6 o'clock in the morning and watering 3 days a week. We're now going to set up our drip. So we're going to go to run times. At run times, we're going to hit the PRG button. So we're going to hit it once. This takes us to program B. We just need time on zone 4. So go to zone 4. And for a small flower bed, so most residential, I would go with 15 minutes. We're going to go to our start times, and we just need program B start time 1, and we can set this for 7 o'clock in the morning because that's when our sprinkler zone is going to run. And at 7 o'clock with drip, we don't need to worry about wind, we don't need to worry about any sun yet because it's still very early. It's all good. We can have 7 o'clock, it will be done by 7:15. And then finally, we go to our watering days. And we want to set our days. Now, if these are brand new plants, I would water them every day. But once they become established, so once they've been in the ground for at least a month, then I would go for, I would get rid of some of my days. So I might go to a regular schedule. So we can go to 3 days a week. So I hit the minus, which gets rid of Monday. Minus again, which gets rid of Monday. Plus on Wednesday, minus on Thursday, plus, minus. So we got our 3 days a week set. We now got program A and B set up. As long as this controller is in the run position, when a schedule is hit, then it is going to run. But we also have a rain freeze sensor. So I'm going to zoom out on this so that you can see it. Here is the rain freeze. It's on the right hand side and it's actually connected. So when you pull this guy down, you'll see that it's green. Now there's a possibility that your rain freeze may be disconnected or it might be wet. You'll know that because the light will be red. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect my power, and then I'm going to turn it back on, and you'll see that my rain freeze is now red. To reconnect your rain freeze sensor, you need to first locate your rain freeze sensor, which will be outside. It looks like this. Usually it's hung up on the side of the house or on the gutter. It may even be on the fence. To reconnect the rain freeze sensor, at the back you'll see that there are 2 buttons. There's one in the middle, this white one. Don't worry about this. Leave this button alone. It doesn't do anything. You want this black button at the back. Hold this black button down for 10 seconds. And after 10 seconds, you'll find that this red light will turn green. And there it goes. Now, if you do this and it doesn't reconnect, this is the next thing you can do. Disconnect the power from the wall. And what you're going to do, you're going to hold down the button on the rain freeze sensor. While you're holding down the button, you're going to reconnect your power. Keep holding it down for at least 5 seconds and then release. And you'll see that the light is like a yellowy orange. What you've done now is you've told the rain freeze sensor that you want to resync it. Now you're going to do the same thing again. You're going to take your rain freeze and you're going to hold it down for 10 seconds. Once you've held it down for 10 seconds, the rain freeze will go from red to green. If it doesn't do this, contact your guy that installed it and they would need to put a new one in or take a look and see if it needs to be troubleshooted. Now the last part of this video, I just want to show you a couple of tricks that you can do with the controller in terms of running manual stations or running a complete cycle or even adjusting the whole controller as one go. So what we're going to do, if you would like to run a complete cycle, so let's say you're like, hey, my grass is looking really dry, I want to run everything. All you have to do is hold down this right button. When you hold it down, the screen will change. Select your program. So I'm just going to let it flash because it's already on program B. It's now going to run zone 1 for 20, then 2, then 3, then turn off. If I wanted to turn it off, I just move it to the off position. I let it flash a couple of times. As soon as it goes solid, it is now off. If I only wanted to run the drip, which is on program B, I do exactly the same thing, except when the screen changes, I hit the PRG button and it now goes straight to program B and then to zone 4 for 15 minutes. If I don't want it to run, I turn it off. Easy peasy. Next thing we're going to do is one zone by itself. So let's say you go outside and you're like, man, the front yard looks really dry. I just want to water that one. Go to manual. So move it one click over to manual. Find the zone that you want. Now, whatever you do in manual will not affect anything over here on the run times. So you can be in program A, B, C, it doesn't matter. For this example, we'll just do program C, zone 1. We're going to select our time. So I'm going to put 10 minutes on it. And then once it's there, I'm going to let it flash a couple of times. Once you've seen the screen flash a couple of times, you're going to move the clock to the run position. And now it's only going to run that one zone for that allotted time. As soon as it finishes, the controller will turn off. And then as soon as a schedule is hit, it's then going to turn back on. Next thing we're going to look at is the seasonal adjust. Now, if you go down to the left, all the way to the bottom, you'll see the seasonal adjust should be set on 100%. 100% is what you have set over here. So if your run times are 20 minutes, that means 100% is 20 minutes. In the middle of winter, you might not want to run everything for 20 minutes. Instead, you might want to run it for half of that, let's say 10 minutes. Knock down your seasonal adjust to 50%. And now all of your run times have reduced from 20 minutes down to 10 minutes. It's just a little shortcut. And then finally, you can also do it the opposite way. So if you go to seasonal adjust and you increase your percentage over 100, so let's do 145 this time, all of your run times would have increased. So they've now gone up to 29 minutes. I'm going to take it back to 100%. There was one last thing that I forgot to mention with the rain-free sensor, and it's this guy over here. This is the hard button to actually turn the sensor on and off. So right now, the rain-free sensor, even though it's turned on, is in the bypass position. So even if the rain-free sensor tries to tell the controller to turn off, it won't happen. If you want the rain-free sensor to actually work, this guy needs to be in the on position. So if you have a scenario where you have your rain-free sensor and it's not connecting and it's keeping the controller turned off and your contractor can't get out there very soon, move this guy to the bypass position and then your controller will keep working and will just completely bypass the rain freeze. And finally, I'm going to teach you guys how to do a test. So this system is going to come on early in the morning before sunrise, so chances are you're not going to see it. So if you have an issue with the system, unless you're an early riser, it's going to go unnoticed. So what you can do, rather than holding down this right button and just doing 20 minutes on every zone and having to walk back and forth from the controller to wherever it is that's firing, instead, what you can do is this. You move the clock to the run position. And in the run position, what you're going to do is you're going to hold down the PRG button. When the screen changes, select your time. So I'm going to do 2 minutes. It's now going to run a 2-minute cycle on every zone, which means that you can just go outside and just watch every zone go without having to walk back and forth or be on the phone to somebody else and say, hey, that looks good. You can go to the next one. I'm going to turn this off. Now, next time you do this trick where you hold down the PRG button, it will actually remember the last run time. So I had 2 minutes before. When I hold this down, it's already set for 2 minutes. So I've already got my tester zone set up and ready to go. So that's basically it. I'm going to leave another link underneath this, which has advanced features, because there are other features that you can do on this, but this is the most basic stuff. If you'd like to check out those advanced features, then have a look at that link. To turn this guy off, just move it to the off position. So let's say hypothetically you look at your phone, you're like, man, it's going to rain this week. I don't want the system to run at all. Move it to the off position. While the controller is in the off position, nothing should happen. Make sure that this is in the on, so we need our rain freeze on. As long as the clock is in the run position, whenever a schedule is hit, so in this case it's going to be Wednesday, Friday and Sunday at 6 o'clock in the morning, zones 1, 2 and 3 are going to come on for 20 minutes. And then program B will then come on the same days, Wednesday, Friday and Sunday at 7 o'clock in the morning for 15 minutes. But that's it.